All right, perfect. Well, as I said, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. I'm joined here with my colleagues, Laura Sindoni, who is the Director of Advancement, and I'm sorry, there we go. Laura Sindoni, who is our Director of Advancement, and Bilal Taylor, who is our brand new Associate Director for the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. We're very excited to have him aboard, and he'll have a chance in the program just in a bit to talk a little bit more about the center. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the foundation, we are a community foundation founded in 2016. We're one of about 850 community foundations across the nation. And really, our role is to help connect the dots between the businesses, nonprofits, and individuals, donors, to all get us rowing in the same direction to make our county an even more wonderful place to live, work, and play. You can think of it kind of like, if you're running a food bank, you're busy with the day-to-day, making sure the stocks are shelved, and you don't necessarily have the staff or time to think about fundraising or marketing, or making those community connections. And on the other side of the fence, donors, there's many charitable, wonderful people out there who want to do good in the world, but don't necessarily have the time to research all the, wonderful work that the nonprofits are doing. So we're kind of the middlemen there, helping to bridge the divide and bring everyone together around these common goals. Much of our work revolves around facilitating those connections between donors, nonprofits, and stakeholders, championing the work you do. And then we're a bit of an odd duck in the community foundation world, in that we also are boots to the ground and run a number of different direct service programs, including WIC for the county, Nurse Family Partnership, and Healthy Start.
Sorry, Monica, can I hop in real quick?
Sure.
I don't know that we've advanced the slides that I can see.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. So none of them have advanced?
No.
Okay. All right, let me try this again. All right.
You might have shared the different screen.
Yeah.
You didn't miss any. She covered everything that we
Okay.
slides.
Can you see that now?
There we go. Yep.
All right. Okay. Well, you missed all my brilliant slides that came before. All right. Yeah, so anyway, much of what we do is actually in support of the nonprofit community, because you're really the boot to the ground, doing that impactful work and, reaching the needs where they are. But we recognize on our end that, there are challenges being in the nonprofit world, in that you are under-resourced, understaffed, and underfunded. And we're really trying to bridge those gaps in those areas. So with being under-resourced, we run the Center for Nonprofit Excellence that provides a number of trainings and development courses. And this is actually where I'd like Bilal to hopefully jump in and say just a few words about the center and its impact.
And I did pick up on you saying a few words, because Lord knows I can ramble. I'm so excited about this work. I will note, though, that although we missed some slides, you also did miss my sweater vest. So that is a plus, and you're up for the day. Trust me on missing that. But that is my last bad joke. My name is Bilal Taylor, and I am the Associate Director of the Center for Nonprofit Excellence here at the Foundation. And as Monica mentioned, some of the ways in which we support nonprofits, I'm really excited that under the leadership of our Director of Nonprofit Services, certainly make grants, do traditional things that you'd imagine a foundation would do for nonprofits, but there's also back office supports for some fiscal matters for nonprofits that can't really manage some of those larger donor advised funds, etc. But I'm excited to say the work I do day to day is really through the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. So besides those other supports, we're really interested in this healthy community where folks live, learn, and play, and where nonprofits do their work. And to that end, the Center for Nonprofit Excellence really works to help nonprofits achieve their missions more effectively, well, not more effectively, but just in an efficient manner. And in that vein, we offer ongoing trainings such as board governance training. We offer trainings through the LaSalle Center for Nonprofit Management that lead to certification in nonprofit management. We have ongoing monthly opportunities, including one recently that just passed around how you might bring in customer relations management, a CRM trainings. And so really interested in what are the supports and trainings that really would help nonprofits achieve their missions more effectively. We also have peer learning circles here where like-minded folks come together, tackle issues they're working on, etc. I could go on, but I hope the sense you get is that the Center for Nonprofit Excellence, all free for nonprofits, and we really hope that you will participate in them, help us shape the direction. And as a new staff person here for 2 months, I'm excited to hush up and learn more about what's going on through Delco Gives, but I am excited about the first year, and I hope we will learn together how everyone here will even knock it out of the park even more for this second year. So thanks to Laura and Monica for the invite, and really thanks to everyone who joined, and let's make it a great year at Delco Gives.
All right, wonderful. Thanks, Bilal. And yeah, we are so excited to have Bilal on board. He's really just hit the ground running. Um, certainly the center is how we're trying to tackle the need for more resources. As Bilal mentioned, we also try to fill in the lack of staff for many nonprofits through either offering the back office services for a number of very, small or nascent nonprofits. But we also offer philanthropic services. So we manage a number of different endowments for organizations that providing those services because they may not have the staff or expertise on their board to be able to manage those on their own. And we also with that help with their planned giving. We're sort of the planned giving arm of their organization. And then the last bit, and certainly this is what nonprofits need more than anything, is funding. And so the foundation, we offer about a little over $2 million in grant funding every year. And this is in addition to the donor advised funds or the money that comes through the donor advised funds then other charitable funds that we manage. And while, 2 million is a wonderful number to be putting into Delaware County every year, we are very cognizant of the fact that it is simply not enough. And barring, my winning all of the lotteries in the country, I don't think, we'd be able to do those with our dollars. And so this past year, and this has been on our radar for a while, we decided to really put into practice bringing to bear organizing many dollars to support the work of the nonprofits and using some of our dollars to encourage that investment. And so I'm very happy to report that we this year, even though it feels like last year, launched our very first Giving Day in Delco Gives, which is why you're all here. It's a 24-hour community-wide celebration that brought together nonprofit businesses, different community members, all rowing in the same direction to amplify your impact and bring dollars to the nonprofits serving Delaware County. It was in contrast to a Giving Tuesday, although a lot of what we do for Delco Gives was online. We really saw this as not only a fundraiser, but also a chance to really bring our community together around common goals. And so we held a number of different celebrations all around the county. We had a launch at Dining Under the Stars in Media. We had a block party in Chester. We had a number of different, what we called breakfast tailgate celebrations. one in Glen Mills, one in Radnor, one in Newtown Square. And then we had a big end celebration at Rose Tree Park where we invited all of our participating 281 nonprofits to go have a presence there and share their stories, learn from each other. I have to say the energy for the day for those 24 hours was amazing. And it was really certainly exceeded all of our expectations. And beyond that, those events that the foundation organized, there were also a number of other events that happened April 1 through May 9th that were hosted by the different participating nonprofits. And I attended many of them, and they were absolutely fantastic. Really fun events, and very clever ways to think about how to make this work for their particular organizations. So you might be asking yourself, why Delco Gives, and what's the incentive for a giving day? Largely, it is not only the idea of collective action, but there's a little bit of money behind it. So to incentivize both donors and nonprofits to participate, the foundation does its own fundraising. We gather money from different corporate partners and business partners from around the county to invest in what we call a bonus pool. And so that meant for each donation that was given, the nonprofits received a little bump on top of that donation, which amounted to over $20 per donation. And that really was an incentive to nonprofits, obviously, to participate, but for donors to give during those 24 hours, so that their dollars meant even more for the nonprofits that they care about. So the why Delco Gives, I touched upon some of this, but one of the big incentives is new donors. I think we all in the nonprofit world our donors suffer from a bit of fatigue where, their networks might be extended. You're having trouble because you might not have large staffs or large marketing budgets, getting the word out about what you're doing, why it's important, and getting new donors to come to you. So that's certainly an incentive for Delco Gives. I touched upon the extra dollars. There's bonus dollars, for every donation made. In addition to that, local businesses sponsored cash prizes. So during that 24 hours, we had a cash prize on almost every hour of the day in which nonprofits could win bonus dollars. And then, I joked with Laura that participation in Delco Gives is the cheapest marketing you could ever do, because we had such an amazing amount of visibility for Delco Gives, and the ability to really get eyeballs on the different nonprofits who were participating, to audiences they might not necessarily reach. So it's really, by hitching yourself to our bandwagon, you're able to really amplify your message to a broad audience. And then, I think almost the most important thing is really to be part of something collective, that we're all in this together. We're all, as I said, rowing in the same direction, really trying to do wonderful things for our community and make it an even more amazing place to be. So I think you're all kind of wondering, how'd we do last year? And this is where I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Laura.
Great. So before I jump into that, a few quick things. We will share these slides and we will take questions at the end. So hold tight on that. So our results from the first year, we're incredibly proud. We didn't really, frankly, know what this was going to look like. So giving days, and some of you might have already participated in giving days if your organization is based in other counties, or maybe you work somewhere else that did it. So it's a pretty widespread tool for fundraising for community nonprofits. So, and with varying results. So in our first year, we raised over $1.7 million, all of which goes to the nonprofits. So we at the foundation host this. We put in our time, we put in our resources, but we do not financially benefit from this. This is about you all. We're proud to do it and proud to shine a spotlight on it. And every dollar we raise goes back out into the community. So $1.7 million, we had 281 nonprofits. There's a few different outcomes here that are important. A few I want to highlight though. The median size of the donation was $30, right? So the minimum to donate on delcogives.org is $10. The median was $30, which I think really shows that this is about people being able to participate at a level that they can. You know, you might have your donors that write you their big $1,000 checks at the end of the year, but what we want to do with this is spread the idea of who can contribute, who is a philanthropist, who can be engaged in the community this way. So, you know, that median donation shows you it's something, you know, hopefully a lot of people can feel like they can be a part of. Other important metrics, we had 85% of organizations get at least one new donor. And if they did get a new donor, the average number of new donors was 11. So now these are donors that are in your system that you can cultivate, that you can steward, and now become, you know, even more invested in your mission. So that's a really important part of this too, as Monica hit on, is like, hopefully your loyal donors give, but we want new people to be aware of your work. And then another important point, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as you're gearing up for the day, is if you can engage a match or a challenge, it's shown to be really critical in helping raise additional funds. So organizations that were able to have a match or a challenge, and we know that's, you know, not something you can just take for granted, raised over $17,000, whereas those who didn't have it raised still almost $4,000, which is pretty good. But obviously we see a significant difference there. And then offline gifts, which we're going to talk about what offline gifts are. So the online giving really happens May 8th to May 9th. We have extended the giving period to count towards Delco Gives starting April 1. Don't worry about understanding all this now, but it's an important thing to be aware of. So if you have an event in April and you say, hey, I want it to be part of Delco Gives, that's what we call an offline gift. We'll give you a lot more information about that, but if you see that term, that's what that means. So those are dollars that didn't come in during that 24-hour period on the website. Speaking of the website, that's where your profile is going to be set up. That's where the action is going to happen. So hopefully, even if you didn't participate last year, you were able to check out delcogives.org and see the participating nonprofits. You can go there now and see last year's. Starting January 6th, it's going to be reset. But if you go to delcogives.org and you go up in the right corner and you click view participating, that'll give you a sense of what this looks like. And I would encourage you to look at some of the other profiles, look at how people set things up. That's where your profile is going to be. That's where we're going to drive people to, and that's where you want to tell your story. Again, in January, that's going to kind of be reset as we gear up for 25, but the information for 24, a lot of it's still there. So yeah, all right, we're moving on. So as I said, giving days are done consistently kind of throughout the country, throughout Pennsylvania. Two of our neighboring-ish counties in Erie and Lancaster do this with great results. You know, you can see their growth. Lancaster County by year 10 was raising about $16 million for their nonprofits. And in year 1, they started with 1.7, which is where we started. So our aim, our hope is really high. We want to emulate these. We want to be right on track. So, you know, we have some conservative, we think, estimates for where this could lead. You know, first year about 1.7. We're hoping, again, conservatively by year 10, we want $9 million. Honestly, we want $16 million. We want $20 million. All towards, you know, supporting our nonprofit. So there's tremendous upside. Like I said, these things really grow year over year. And so we're hoping to be part of that as well.
Yeah, and I would just say that I think, you know, what we've seen is with these giving days, year 1 through 3 is people both on the nonprofit side and the donors sort of trying to understand what it is and, you know, getting a feel for how Delco Gives works. And then by year 3, they really get it. And that's where you see that exponential growth. And so, you know, the more familiar we get everyone with these ideas in the early years, we're hoping to really shoot it out of the park as soon as possible. So,
yep. All right, so now into some of the logistics. What do you need to do to participate? So participation, here are the criteria. You have to serve residents of Delaware County. You do not need to be based in Delaware County. So you can be headquartered in Philadelphia, in Chester County, but you need to serve residents of Delaware County. You have to be a 501c3 as recognized by the IRS or be fiscally sponsored by a 501c3, and you can't be a private foundation. Have to file your 990, which you'll be required to upload as part of your registration. And you also have to be compliant with state requirements. So a lot of organizations, not a lot, but a decent amount, are not familiar. There's also a state bureau of charitable organizations that has requirements for fundraising organizations. Some are exempt from that. It depends on, I believe, the amount of revenue you have. But that's really something important that we had to work through with a lot of organizations. So please make sure you're aware of that. There's a website, there's a phone number if you're not sure if you fit there, but definitely check that out. You have to attest to a non-discrimination statement and submit a registration fee. So a word about the registration fee. We heard from other organizations, you might wonder, like, why are you charging me to raise money? It seems kind of not logical. As we researched this, and last year showed it, we heard from other organizations that run these days that if you charge a fee, you're just going to get better investment. I think we all know that if you get something for free, you get free tickets. It's like, well, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. So we implemented the fee in order to really get that buy-in, and everything we collect from the fee goes back into the day. So it's, again, not a moneymaker for us. And the fee is tiered by your organizational budget size. So if you're, and this year we introduced a new tier for those very small nonprofits that are under $50,000. So if you're very small, the fee is $50. If you're between $50,000 and $500,000, it's $100. If you're between $500,000 and $1 million, it's $150. And if you're $150 plus, it's $200. So we tried to make it doable for organizations of all sizes. And again, these fees are really to get buy-in and go back into the day. So it's ultimately all to benefit the nonprofits. All right, and then what does this look like? What is our timeline? So on January 6th, you can go to delcogives.org and register. So registration, we talked about the questions that are on there. Honestly, it should take you 10 minutes. You fill out a few questions, you submit the fee. After you register, you will be required, if you don't have a GiveGab account, to submit some banking information. And it will require, I just want to give you all a heads up, because it goes through Stripe, you have to have an authorized representative from your organization, and they will have to input personal information. And that's just the way Stripe does it, because they have compliance things that they have to follow. And unfortunately, we don't control that. But I did want to give you a heads up that is something that you'll have to do.
And I just want to mention the reason that we collect banking information is because once a day is finished and all of the bonus dollars are totaled and all of the money that's been raised is totaled, it flows directly into your bank account. So we're not on the back end writing checks because that's too administratively burdensome. So it just is an automatic electronic transfer to you.
Yep. So registration opens on January 6th, closes April 18th. That is more than enough time. I would encourage you to do it on the sooner end. The sooner you do it, we have to approve you. But once you get approved, you're up on the website. So as we start to get the word out, you want people to see you up there beforehand. And like I said, it really doesn't take very long. Training sessions. So these are still the dates are being finalized, and we will obviously share them with you when they are. There will be some trainings that are focused specifically on Delco Gives and setting up your profile, et cetera, and some that are a little bit more general or applicable to your other operations. Plan your event, which we'll talk about in a minute. If you want to do an event, office hours. So I hold weekly office hours, which we'll share with you just on Zoom. I would encourage you to take advantage of it. I can tell you, the folks that took advantage of it last year, we were really able to strategize and plan pretty well together, and they had pretty good outcomes. I'm not patting myself on the back too much, but I'm here to help. And sometimes having a conversation, we can resolve something in 2 minutes as opposed to back and forth email. So I encourage you to use it. Other things I encourage you to use. So on delcogives.org, we'll have a toolkit. Our communications team has done an amazing job, and hopefully you saw some of these assets out there last year of creating social media graphics, language, templates for you to use. There's an entire timeline on there of, okay, 8 weeks out, here's the communication, 7, and so on and so forth. So there is a extremely robust library of assets available to you on delcogives.org, which we'll share with you. Please take advantage of it. We think they're incredibly helpful. And then the day is May 8th, which last year it was also May 8th to May 9th, which was a Wednesday to a Thursday. This year we've shifted to Thursday to Friday, in part because our closing celebration at Rose Tree Park was really great. Hopefully some of you were able to be there last year, but we're hoping that if we shift it to a Friday and make a few other tweaks, we can really draw in a bigger general audience, more people on a Friday night. Hopefully the weather's good. We'll come out and join us. Like I said, last year was great, but we really want to engage as much of the community as we can. So I'm going to say one more thing and then we'll pause for questions. Events. This was as Monica said, a lot of nonprofits had events related to Delco Gives. Some of those events were pre-existing. So, all right, we always do this gala. It just happens to fall within Delco Gives. We're going to co-brand it as a Delco Gives event, and then that counts towards your Delco Gives totals. Some people did completely new events. Some were small, like a walk. We had one school, this was pretty brilliant. They had parents pay $10, which is the minimum donation, walk around the school, and all those counted towards their Delco Gives totals. And I think they had 300 families do it. And as Monica said, the bonus pool is prorated by number of donors. So those $10 all got $20 on top of them. So there are ways to do it that are grander. There are ways to do it that are smaller. But the big thing is it's completely up to you, and you don't have to do anything related to Delco Gives. We hope you do, but we know nonprofits, you have a billion other things going on. I just want to make clear, in no way is throwing an event a required part of this. We'd be happy to talk to you about ways to do it in a way that feels good, but we don't want you to feel like, oh shoot, now I got to go plan a gala. Like, that is 100% not what is happening here. And we'll talk through what that means in terms of like counting it towards Delco Gives. But the gist is the donor just has to know, hey, this is going towards Delco Gives. It's all about donor intent. And we'll give you lots of language about that and other ways to make it clear. But I do just want to reiterate, events are up to you, and it is in no way required. So I'm going to pause. We've thrown a lot at you. I understand this is a lot. Know that, there's a lot of resources. I'm available. Monica's available. You'll be hearing from me a lot, pretty regular communication. So I'm going to pause and we're going to take questions. The way I would ask, if you have a question, and Monica, if you could stop sharing so I could see hang on, I can just change the view. If you would just raise your hand, use a little hand emoticon there so we can call on you if you have any questions. So we're not talking over each other. If we don't have any questions, I'm really good at my job. Or I'll put you all to sleep. One of the two of those. All right. Michael, do you want to hop in? You can unmute yourself.
Good morning, everyone. And first and foremost, Monica, Lauren, Bilal, thank you for doing this again. It's amazing. Here's a quick question. Are you doing both the City of Chester event again as well as the Rose Tree Park, or what are the plans for that?
I'm going to say, Michael, TBD. We're not sure what we're doing. We are definitely 99% going to do the Rose Tree Park event, and we're actually going to make that we're hoping to make it an even bigger, longer event. So we're conservatively planning some events with local businesses in the front time or in the earlier hours, and then trying to funnel them to the event with all of the nonprofit partners. So it's kind of a captive audience. And then we are still in the planning stages of all the other stuff that's going on around the county. So that's the only one that we kind of have nailed down.
Cool. Thanks, Michael, for that question. Stephen, Philly Truce.
Good morning, Laura. Good morning, Monica. Thanks for having this forum today. I really appreciate the invitation. My only question is there on the website any information or instructions on how to work with Delco Gives if you're in another county, or some more specific information? Can I find that anywhere?
So in terms of working with another county, it works the same, but you have to serve Delaware County residents. So, we had other organizations last year that are like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, right? So they were in it, they serve different counties, but they serve Delaware County. So you don't really have to do anything. What I would encourage you to do is there's an opportunity to tell your story. If you can talk specifically about what you do in Delaware County, I think that's really helpful because it will resonate more with the day. Like, here are our programs in Delaware County. Here are the people, here's how many we serve. That would be my advice. But in terms, you don't have to do anything differently. But as much as you can highlight your Delco impact, I would do that.
I want to answer this question because it's an easy one. When you enter a donor's info into the system, do you need to use their name? For offline gifts, so if it's an online gift, they're entering their own information for credit cards and whatnot. If it's an offline gift, the information that you need to enter is their name and how much they gave. No other identifying information. And that's just because the bonus dollars are allocated by unique donor. And so we need to have some way of, making sure that Bob Smith didn't sign on at 5 o'clock and give 200 $10 donations and then is getting,
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna get to the chat too.
Okay.
Nick, though, has had his hand up for a while.
Good morning. So I have 3 questions. They're easy though. If we do an event with Delco Gives, do we need individual event insurance?
That's up to you. Yeah. It depends on.
We're not co-hosting.
Yeah.
It's just more. This is in support of Delco Gives, so it's your event still. It just people need to understand their donation for that event goes towards Delco Gives.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we don't need to be named as like co-insurers or anything like that, like have a COI. That's if you have an event and the location requires you to have insurance, then, you'd work with the facility for that. But we're out of that. Yeah.
Okay. Now we recently just got our 501c3, so we haven't filed a 990 yet, and we won't file it until April because our year goes from March to March. How's that affect registering?
You'll still be able to register if you just put in, I might ask for some follow-up financial information. So you'll have to submit something. If you submit a sheet that says we haven't filed a 990, here are our financial statements, that's enough.
Okay. And last question, we would like to get some type of better website development and design. Do you guys help us with that or not?
Well, sorry. For your actual homepage website, that's not something we do, but with your Delco Gives profile, you have your own page where you can add in pictures, videos, information about your mission. And that can all live on that page, which you can direct donors to and that they can donate through, but only during Delco Gives time, not during the rest of the year. So if you're looking for something permanent, you're going to need to, work to get that on your own.
Okay.
Okay.
And
right,
with your communications program, do you help us with that, or can you give us some ideas on where to go? And I know it's a little specific on this question.
No, that's right. What we have available is tailored towards Delco Gives. That said, some of the language and the visuals might be helpful for you kind of broadly. Candidly, we don't, just because of volume, able to help every everybody we'd love to be able to. But I would take advantage of what we have, and you can kind of see some examples and then tweak them so that they're applicable kind of more broadly.
And
Okay,
and
thank
I would
you.
also say, Nick, as we think about building out the pool of resources through the center, I don't think you're alone in maybe wanting some of those resources. So we can, as we build out our pool of either pro bono or other folks that are helping in those supports, we can certainly follow back up around website design if it comes up as a common need for the county. So
Great. Thanks, Paul. I'm going to jump into the chat real quick and then we'll go back to live questions. Yes, there will be a donate button on the Delco profile page, but it's not active right now. So when you go on there, you don't see an option to donate because you can't donate through Delco Gives right now. How do we know if we meet the state requirements? So you should go to the Pennsylvania Bureau of Charitable Organizations. That is who manages that certification. Like I said, they have a phone number, they have a website, and you can see there what your requirements are.
And let me just jump in. This is something that we kind of found out through Delco Gives, but organizations that are fundraising in Pennsylvania, irrespective of Delco Gives, need to have that registration. And so if you're fundraising and you don't have that registration and you are above a certain threshold for donations, you can get in trouble and potentially there can be some consequences. So
do you know
even
what
if you
that
don't
threshold
participate,
is off the top of your head?
is it 50,000? I'm not 100% sure.
It's either 25 or 50. I can't remember off but it's on the website. And
Yeah.
they are the experts. We don't want to tell you what to do. We want to tell you where to go to find out the information. The fee tiers. If your annual operating budget is under 50,000, it's $50. If you're 50,000 to 500,000, it's 100. If you're 500,000 or plus one, whatever, $1 each way, to $1 million, it's 150. If you're $1 million or above, it's 200. You were founded in 2016, 2020. So the foundation was founded in 2016. 2024 was year one of Delco Gives. When you enter a donor's name, so when you enter a donor's name you do have to use their name, but there is an ability you can check, make anonymous, so they won't show on publicly. And they have the ability to do that too. For the registration process, we'll send out an email showing what questions are going to be asked. So it's, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go through everything now, but like your mission, your budget, your 990, those are the big things, but we'll send out an email that shows the question so you can see everything you need to have. Prepared. All right. We are going to go next to, I think there's one more question, but I have a question on the question, so we're going to wait. Michelle with Defy Ventures.
Hi, thank you. The information was amazing. So I have a question. Can people donate prior to Delco Gives? And then how long afterwards can you still accept donations?
Excellent question, Michelle. Excellent question. So donors can make a donation to Delco Gives starting April 1, anytime through technically May 9th, but to be quite frank, we left the portal open over the weekend to capture those stragglers who had forgotten. And we're probably going to do that again this year. So what would that be? Probably through the 11th of May would be the end of when you can actually go on the portal and donate. That being said, offline gifts cut off May 9th at 7 p.m. to count.
Thank you. I just wanted to see if they could do it before, that's all. In my enthusiasm, like give before.
And you can collect checks, beforehand, and as long as they know it's for Delco Gives and says in the little check line that it's for Delco Gives and that it is in that April 1 through May 11th time or May 9th timeline, then you're fine.
So donor intent is the key. You can't collect checks that weren't intended and then count them. So cool.
Oh, and actually that's a very good point that I do want to put a pin in is if you have a spring appeal and your spring appeal is in, I don't know, February, you can't hold the checks and then count them towards Delco Gives. They have to be for Delco Gives, and they have to be in that time frame.
Okay,
So
thank you.
Thanks. Kim. Hi, Kim.
Hi, this is Kim Yakubian. Excuse me, with Girl Spark. I was just wondering if there's a recording of the 201 session.
There is. It'll
Okay.
be up on so in January, the site as it currently is going to switch over to the registration phase, and we'll have the recordings up there then. So,
Okay,
and the
thank you.
slide. Yeah, thanks, Kim. So I do want to somebody asked about the match, just to clarify. So the bonus pool is not a match. It's not 1-to-1. The way it works is we at the foundation raise a pool of money, hopefully more next year than this year. And then it's prorated out by number of unique donors. So whatever proportion of unique donors you have, you get that proportion of what we call the bonus pool. In 2024, that shook out to about $20 per donation. So, which is pretty great. Somebody donates $10, it then turned into a $30 donation, essentially. That number is going to be different in 2025 because it's variable. We have to raise a certain amount, and then there's going to be a certain amount of donors, but it is not a 1-to-1 match. That being said, if you can get a board member or somebody to do a match on your end, then that's completely separate. But we at the foundation do not provide a match per se. It's a bonus pool. Do donors receive a list of eligible Delco Gives nonprofits, or are they directed to the website? Everything has to be on the website, just because last year we had 281. Hopefully this year we're more than that. So kind of the best way and the most efficient way to do that is on the website. Let's see, Akila.
What kind of, I know that obviously the more passive we are in terms of advertising that we are including the Delco Gives makes a difference. But what are you guys doing in terms of promoting it? And then my second question is, well, my comment is that for everyone, I took a look at last year's information to see the different organizations and what they had set up. And like you mentioned, their videos, some people just have pictures, some people have a lot of stuff, some people don't have anything. So I think that the more that we do in terms of, putting videos, making sure our story's out there and everything like that, will probably make a difference as well. And then how do they search for us? Or I know, is there like categories, or is it just one big page?
Yeah. So I think those are really great questions. You're 100% right. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And that's certainly what we saw. So, the more you're reaching out to your donors, using social media to talk about your story, really building on the day, definitely those organizations did, really considerably better. But that being said, we amplify the organizations on our own end. So we had, I think, 4 different TV stations do promotions of the day. We had radio ads, we had billboards, and so that's kind of broad Delco Gives, yard signs, blah, 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 spreading the word about the event. For the individual organizations, we did different social media highlights of the organizations. There was also a chance, and I would encourage you to do that because we're going to do this again this year, is create your own PSA. It doesn't have to be fancy. It can be on your iPhone, just really something that tells your story. PHL 17 ran a PSA contest. So everybody submitted their PSAs. They picked the top 10 videos, and they played them on air during the month leading up to Delco Gives, with the winner actually being played not only on air, but being interviewed on their TV station. And I have to say that the winner, St. Catherine Drexel, they got some donations out of those videos being on air. So
to highlight your point, St. Catherine Drexel's was shot on an iPhone. It was not slick, but it was very powerful. So don't feel like, oh, we can't do that. I try. In fact, Tom emailed me. He's like, I don't know. This is just you don't know what's going to resonate with people. Telling your story is what resonates with people, not production value. So we'll share the specs on how to do that. I hopefully we answered all of the questions. Do we answer all the questions?
There's a couple others. In your example of the school event, did the 3,000 that they raised from the walk go directly to the school or but through Delco Gives? For that one, I think they collected it offline. So they
So they collect the money,
yeah,
but
they collect the
put
money.
in the system that it was
yeah.
a Delco Gives donation.
So they just wrote the name and then how much and put it into the system. And I would say that this is very much honor system for all of these donations. But if there is something that looks a little strange, we do reserve the right to audit those offline donations to make sure they're legitimate. So certainly keep the receipts because we want everyone to play fair.
I want to answer Christina's question. If donors move their donations to the giving day, that's a good question. I think I know what you're asking here. So was it just that donors moved their December year-end donation and just donated in May instead? What we don't collect that. And I should underscore here, all of the donor data is yours. We don't talk to your donors. We can see it, but we don't do anything with it. So, we're not going to reach out to your donors. We don't contact them. What we have heard from nonprofits is that people gave in addition to their annual gift. I can't say across the board, I can't give you an exact number, but we have heard feedback that they've received an extra gift. It wasn't just moving the timing of their annual gift.
And I would say with the events, what we heard from the Walden School, they have an annual gala during that time frame. And what they ended up doing was tacking on an extra $10 to the tickets and it was not an opt-in sort of thing. It was just automatic and letting the donors know that it was all for this Delco Gives event. And they did really well. So.
Amy has her hand up. Hi, Amy.
Hi, thanks. This has been really great, very helpful. I appreciate it. Question about the profile. Will we be able to edit that all the way up until the event?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Because we're acquiring a property in March that we want to promote. So that would be great. Okay.
Oh, and actually, who was it? I think it was Tyler Arboretum. So you can either, focus your page on your general mission, or you can narrow it down to a specific project and use that as an incentive so they did it for their trail reopening, and fundraise for that. And then I think, I can't remember what the group did. They're opening up an ice rink Newman University. And so they used it just for the ice rink fundraising.
Yeah, this would be big because we're going to move our headquarters from down the street in Chester County to Delaware County on a new preserve.
Exciting news.
Yeah. So
you should. Delaware County's great.
We know. I grew up there. Thanks.
Great. There was a question about out-of-state board members who do events during Delco Gives timeframe. Will that count? If they say they want it to count towards Delco Gives, if you have people in another state who want to have a fundraiser for Delco Gives, that's awesome. It has to be explicitly clear. So people in Connecticut can't think they're doing an event in support of the Connecticut chapter, and then we count that towards Delco Gives. So again, donor intent is key. If they know that's where their donation is going, the more people from anywhere that want to give to Delco, we won't argue with it. I see some people drop some information about the State Bureau of Charitable Organizations in the chat. Thank you, Kathy, for dropping that link. Nick and Kim, you still have your hands up. I don't know if you have more questions or if you're, those are relics.
Relics, sorry about that.
No worries.
And I know amongst all the good questions, I don't know if we were able to get the very first one about donors moving their donations to Giving Day or giving during or gave during usual later months, if we track that out. But if you already answered it, I apologize.
I think I did.
Okay.
I think I did. If not, please retype it. Any other questions? Great. This was wonderful. Monica, should we go out with our little
We're going to go out with a bang.
video?
So assuming I can work the old computer.
Sorry, hang on, one more question. How many
Okay.
individual nonprofits were highlighted on the PSAs? 10 made it to air. So I think we received maybe 30. We at the foundation narrowed it to 10. 10 aired on PHL 17, and then people voted on the
But and I just want to jump in here. When you make the PSAs, and we encourage nonprofits to do this, don't mention Delco Gives, because we really want you to be able to use for this to be evergreen. So even if you didn't make it onto PHL 17, you could still use the video in your own promotions outside of Delco Gives. So
yeah, and I think PHL 17 actually says don't do it or you won't make it. So and we'll follow up, Michelle. Yeah, we can send you. We have to see if it's still public somewhere, the videos. Okay, Monica's going to show a video, but before we kind of close, again, thank you, everybody. We're super excited. We're both here for questions. January 6th, I'll send a follow-up email with these slides. The video will be posted in January. We're super excited to have all of you on board. And if we don't talk to you before then, happy holidays. But we'll go out with a little recap of 2024 that kind of captures the spirit of what this looks like.